All right, so I got my baby to sleep, and now I am on to making my breakfast at 10 a.m. Well, it's been complete chaos around here. And that was what my first video was about, was like how many crazy things we've been doing over the last, like, I don't know, 7 or 8 months. And I explained kind of the lead up to our move. We are moving. And we are excited about it. We see God. It was not the timing we wanted or in the way that we wanted, but now we see how God is opening up opportunity for us to be able to use our gifts and our talents and, some of the things that we're good at to be able to make investments towards our future. So my car broke down in the middle of all this, the home purchase, getting sick, moving, struggling with my postpartum recovery. The car broke down. And for me, that's kind of a big deal because I really depend on getting out at least once a day just so that I don't lose my mind. We also have 2 large dogs that require a lot of exercise, and to be able to just drive them to the dog park and release them, go run for an hour. That's how I like to do it. We can go on walks and stuff. Oh, the cat wants inside. We can go on walks and stuff, but, it's just challenging to be able to hold the dogs and the stroller and, the whole thing. When the car broke down, and I should preface this by, ever since we've had the baby, we have this giant stroller. We've got 2 large dogs and Carice. We want to have at least 1 or 2 more babies in the next few years. So we are kind of in a situation where it's like, okay, it'd be nice to get a bigger car. We're going to need one before we have another baby anyway. So no matter what, we are looking at making a car purchase within the next year or so. We didn't think it'd be this soon, and we certainly didn't think it would be at the same time that we're trying to buy a house that we didn't expect to have to buy. But here we are. And so my car broke. Now, earlier this year, we had replaced the transmission. It's got all new tires. A few years ago, we rebuilt the engine under warranty. So there's a number of big improvements. It's got a new battery. There's a ton of things that we've invested in to try to keep the car alive as long as possible. So even though it's not working, and I took it in a week ago after it stopped working again, and they said that the radiator was leaking, and we just replaced that a couple months ago. The lines are leaking, the differentials are leaking, so I don't know what's going on, but I know I don't want the car anymore. And I haven't been ready up until just recently, but I'm like, okay, maybe I should just get a mom van. I feel like that's the last step, and I guess in my mind I thought, well, once I get a mom van, I would have officially let myself go. But think of all the space, So it's kind of where I stand on that. We have looked at cars, and we kind of know 3 or 4 that we would be interested in. So I go to post this car on Facebook Marketplace, and, I just kind of told the story. I mentioned the things that we've recently done. I explained the symptoms. The car was also totaled. Back in 2020, I was in a car accident, and it was totaled, but I love the car so much, I bought it back and just repaired it. But the whole front wheel was bent in. It bent the frame a little bit, and they say if you bend the car frame, they just don't ever really work the same after that. So, and I don't understand all the details behind why that is, but I just know that they say if you bend the frame, you really need to think hard about, do you want to keep that car? So I kept it. It was worth it to me because just a few years prior, I had put a new engine in the car. So to me, even though it's a high mileage car, it's practically a new car. But with all the repairs, I was like, okay, fine, it's time to sell it. I just will be done with it. A friend has also recently asked me if I would be willing to use their car until I can buy one, which was extremely generous. And that relieved some of the pressure so that I'm not like at the beck and call of Brandon, who works very hard and long. So I was like, yes. And now I can afford to make this decision, like, look at my bangs, to make this decision slowly. I don't have to feel rushed. I can get something I want rather than like go out and make an impulsive car purchase. So I felt pretty good about selling it. We're also moving and the car is inoperable. Like I cannot even drive it a few houses down the street without it starting to stop accelerating. And I don't want to drive it because I don't want to risk further damaging the car. I don't want to pay a ton of money to tow it somewhere and get it fixed because Lord knows in a few weeks or months, I'm going to have to fix something else on the car. And, you know, we're working too hard to save to be able to buy a home and to kind of adjust some of these things, you know, pay down debt. So, no, I do not want to be in this cycle of fixing a car and not having dependable transportation with a baby. And it felt especially vulnerable because this last couple of weeks we got sick for the first time. We haven't really experienced that yet. And so I'm just praying, God, don't allow, you know, there to be like a need to go to the hospital or care now or anything like while I don't have a vehicle. That wouldn't be cool. So I posted on Facebook, and within 10 minutes, I got like 40 or 50 inquiries. So I bumped the price up. I went from $2,000 to $3,500, which matches the lowest end of the Kelley Blue Book. So the Kelley Blue Book says an inoperable car, similar to the one that I have, should be valued around $2,000, which is what I initially listed it for. But because I got so many responses, and then as I started thinking, like, I just bought $1,400 worth of tires in the last month or two. So because of all of that, I think I'm going to bump that price up. Because surely, like, the parts, the tires, the tow kit I've installed, the sport utility rack that I added on, like, surely those are worth something, you know? I'm going to look it. Sorry. So, that was kind of my thought process. Bumped the price up. Half of these people who I could tell are just kind of scammers are like, oh, you got excited that you were getting a lot of responses. Now no one's going to buy your car and all this. And people are messaging me saying, hey, cash offer, I'll give you $1,000 today. And I'm like, no thanks. Like, I really don't want to make this decision without my husband. I want to wait. I want to, you know, just see how it goes. And for some of the people who offered something closer to what I wanted, I would say, hey, can you just like give me a money order? I don't know if I feel comfortable accepting that much cash because, and I didn't tell them this. I did tell the guy who showed up at my door this, but I don't know how to recognize fraudulent bills, and I just don't know if I want to accept that much cash from someone who I don't know, who I just met off the internet, you know? So, about 30 or 40 minutes after posting, this guy shows up on my door, knocking on my door. I had not given my address out or anything. As it turns out, because I know everyone's going to question it, when you post on Facebook Marketplace, they show the approximate location of where you are. And I didn't know that. And I've only ever sold like small ticket items on Facebook. So it's never been an issue. I've never tried to sell something very large. I've never tried to sell anything that I think people would want to steal. So it's never really been a problem, and I've never noticed it. But it shows basically the location. So someone only had to like come to the approximate location and drive around until they saw my car. So let that be a lesson to you. I'm sorry if I'm eating and if it's grossing you out. Just turn the screen off and listen. But it's kind of what happened, and how he found the car. So when he came to the door, he said, I saw, I'm here about the car. And I said, oh, really? How did you know about it? And he said, well, I'm friends with someone just a few doors down. I was in the neighborhood. We recognized the car from Facebook Marketplace. And I said, which house are you friends with? And he pointed to this house where someone just moved in just a few months ago who I haven't met yet. And there's always men coming and going, and I can tell that they have like, physical jobs. And so in my mind, it made sense. I was like, oh, okay, like I know that house. Like I'm watching people coming and going. It seems like I could see how maybe the guys associated with that house would know something about cars. And he's telling me this story about how I have a sister, I run a car lot. We do flips on cars. I want to bless her with a car. It would cost less to me to buy this car and like fix it than it would to invest in a nicer car, and deal with, she has teenagers and they're like, they don't really drive the car well. I'd rather just kind of get her, a lower end car that's dependable, fix it up, swap out the parts, and, be a blessing. And I thought, okay, well, that makes sense. Like, I don't know anything about the car industry. Fine. That sounds like a nice gift, yada, yada. So he's looking at the car, takes it for a little drive up the street, leaves his car here running. And I took a picture of his car while he was gone, because as I was watching him drive away, and granted, my car is not going to get very far. It is in bad shape. So I wasn't too worried about him like driving off with my car, because I guess in my mind, I thought, well, at least it's off the driveway, like at least it's gone from here. But on a serious note, I was like, well, I'm going to take a picture of his car just in case he tries to steal my car. But it's not going very far. Like, I'm not too threatened. And I'm trying to sell the car anyway. I don't expect to make a ton of money on it. But I thought, due diligence. I've never sold a car before. But I'm certainly not going to get in the car with a stranger who I've never met and take a test drive with him. So, he drives it up the street, comes back. He's like, yeah, the car's smoking. I think your transmission might be burning oil. And I'm like, oh, great. Like, we just replaced the transmission. And he's like, how about I go get some transmission fluid? I don't think this car is worth more than $500. You could call a professional junk removal service. They're going to lowball you for it. And in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, that's exactly what I thought would happen. Like, this car doesn't work and needs a ton of work. I could see all that happening. And so I call my friend while he's gone getting the transmission fluid, and I'm just like, Brandon's home. And I'm just like, okay, well, what would you sell it for? Like, what is it worth not working, knowing all that we know about what's going on with the car? My friend is like, I am insulted that this man would show up on your doorstep and offer you $500. Do not come down from $3,000. I'll buy it for $3,000. So I was like, okay, I'm going to tell him that as soon as he gets back. And I'm all confident because while this guy was here and I was visiting with him, learning about him and his business and, his experience with cars and all this stuff, he's like pulling out money, showing off that he has $10,000 cash in his pocket. And that was a red flag to me because anyone who actually makes that kind of money doesn't go around showing it off, you know? Like, that's the kind of stuff people who don't commonly have that kind of money, or at least who don't value money. That's the kind of thing people who don't value money do. And I would think a responsible business owner would have enough sense to be a little bit more savvy. So when he came back, he has this bag of transmission fluid that he supposedly bought from the gas station. And I said to him, hey, before you put any transmission fluid in the car, I just want you to know, I got off the phone with my friend who knows a lot about cars. He wants to buy it for $3,000. So I'm willing to sell it to you for that, but I'm not coming down below that anymore. I don't want you to waste your money or your time anymore if the car isn't worth $3,000 to you. And he's like, well, I wish you would have told me that before I went and got transmission fluid. And I said, I know, I'm sorry, I didn't know it before you got the transmission fluid. I made the call while you were gone. And he's like, you should have told me that. And I said, well, I didn't know. Why don't you just take it back? And he said, I can't take it back. And I said, don't you have a receipt? And he said, no. And I said, well, you were just there. I bet, if you walk in with it, it's unused, it's got a seal on it, you could return it. Like, I do that kind of stuff all the time. I make returns all the time. They'll take it back. And he's like, they won't take it back, bitch. And so he starts cussing at me, and I'm like, okay, but I'm done. I start walking back towards my house, and he's screaming just as Brandon is walking out with the baby, to ask me where the milk is so he can put her down for the night. And I said, give me the baby. He's upset, telling the story about what happened on my YouTube. Do you want to come and tell your part of the story? Brandon has joined us. Is Crease up? Okay. Can you check her just to make sure I got in? Oh, okay. So Brandon's walking out. I take the baby, and Brandon's like, what's he saying? Because he's out in the street just like screaming, yelling, cussing, and Brandon's like, what the heck is going on? There's Brandon. And I was like, he's upset because I won't buy the transmission fluid from him that he just bought. And Brandon's like walking up to him, hands me the baby. I'm calling 911 as Brandon's walking up, asking this guy, hey, what's going on? What are you saying? And the guy is like, yo, what did he say? He was like, you can't cuss. Like, you can't say bad words on the channel, but what did he say to you at that point?
I just asked him what's the problem. He said I need $21 for my transmission fluid.
Which is funny because he asked me for $25. He wanted $25 for me.
Where is it? And he goes, I threw it in your yard. I go, you don't want to return it? And he said, no, I'm not returning that. I said, okay, I'll tell you what, how much was it? He said, $21. I said, I'll be happy to give you $21. I got cash on the side. I was like, but you owe my wife an apology. You can't be out here disrespecting her and cussing her out and not apologize to her. I'll be paying for it. Or you could take the transmission fluid you bought back. I was like, but I'll save you the trouble and eat the $21 if you respect my wife. And he said, and he started cussing and getting mad. He goes, no, she disrespected me. I go, how did she disrespect you? He said, she didn't want to sell me the car. She wants $3,000 for the car. I go, so that's not disrespectful at all.
Yeah, like I'm going to sell him $500 whenever my friend's willing to buy it for $3,000. You kidding me?
Yeah. I was like...
And I don't know, like, it's not like I know what the car is worth. Like, this is unfolding so fast. You showed up on my doorstep, unannounced, uninvited, like, without a time, didn't even ask if you could come over. And you expect me to just sell my car for $500 after I haven't even had a time to think about this?
Yeah. So,
And
anyway, so then he got mad about the transmission fluid, and I have the pine for disrespecting her. I was like, but you disrespecting my wife, you gotta apologize. And he did not like that. And I was like, take your transmission fluid back.
yeah,
And he's like, well,
and he's like,
and then he
bowing
wanted to
up.
fight me.
Yeah, he's like bowing up, spreading his arms out, walking up to Brandon. I'm like,
And
oh no, they're going to get into a fight. And I'm
said-
thinking, well, if you don't mind, I'm just like, oh no, he does not know what my husband is capable of. Like, this guy is about to get into a fight with my husband, and he's gonna lose bad.
So
Brandon-
he said, I will beat you in front of your bee. And I said,
And I'm like holding
Okay.
the baby on the phone with 911, describing
you're-
this guy.
I said, you're more than
His car.
welcome to try. And I took 4 or 5 steps back into my yard. I gave him every opportunity to leave. Right? He didn't come within arm reach of me, because that would have been a violation of my personal space. Right? And
Well, I think he was scared of you.
Instead, you know, like, well, I mean, at that point, I would have had to defend myself if he came within arm reach of me.
Sure.
You know, like, I'm not going to let somebody come over here and hurt me, stab me, or shoot me if they're in arm reach of me. Right? It's just not an option.
Yeah.
I value my life. Okay? And so I took 4 or 5 steps backwards. And I said, and I just waited, you know. And he started cussing, going at it. I said, nothing. First of all, I just said, I'm right here. I was like, I'm not gonna, you know, try to get into a fight with you. I'm gonna do everything I can to de-escalate it. I'm not gonna cuss you out. I'm not gonna scream at you. You know, I'm just gonna stay calm, stay cool. And
He's continuing to scream and rant and turn towards his car, and he opened his car door. I'm on the phone watching all this. I wasn't watching you, but he got in his car.
oh yeah, and then he's like, oh, I got something for you. I got something for you.
I didn't.
And then he ran back to his car, hopped up in there, pulled out a gun, cocked it, and pointed at me.
Mm-hmm.
I looked him straight in the eyes for a couple seconds, and I turned around and walked away. I said, and I thought to myself, if he's going to shoot me, he's going to have to shoot me in the back like a coward.
Okay, yeah.
Because he was across the street now. Like, he had backed up and went away, you know, and went to the car. So, I mean, I'm not going to chase somebody down while they got a gun and they're 15 feet away from me. That's not smart.
Well, and I'm on the phone with 911 describing this guy, watching him pull a gun out and point it to my husband's head in our front yard. And I was just like, please no, don't do this. And the 911 operator is saying, what's happening? I said, he's got a gun pointed at my husband. And she's like, you know, stay calm, try to stay calm. What's happening now? And I'm trying to describe it. And then Brandon's turning around saying, get in the house. But I wasn't going to get in the house because I thought, if Brandon gets shot, I am going to need to go deliver first aid. Our house is not set up so I can easily see out. And I'm just so torn because I'm holding my baby, watching all of this happening, trying to assess, what do I do with the baby? What am I going to do with her whenever Brandon gets shot? I'm going to have to go run and help him, but I don't want to put my child in jeopardy. Like, how do you make that decision, you know? And fortunately, we were able to go home, close the garage door, close the front door. The guy sat in his car for a while and drove off. We also got a picture we got the full footage of him. His face is very clear in the photos that we have from our cameras. We got many images and photos of his car, and video. The police came, and they basically said that there's not a whole lot that they can do unless he comes back. And if he comes back, they'll be able to do something. But, it's just a very unnerving, crazy experience. And I think both Brandon and I have had somewhat similar experiences when we were single, but now that we're parents and we're married, one of the first things Brandon said when he came in was, it's different having a gun pointed at you when you have something to lose. And I agree. It is different going through an experience where your life is being threatened, or where, you're faced with this kind of threat when you have a baby and a husband and a wife. And
I will say this. When I say when you have something to lose, if you have a gun pointed at you, at any time you can lose your life.
Yeah.
Right? But what I mean by that is something beyond yourself.
Yeah, because
right?
you're
like
living
the impact
for us.
it's going to have on your family for a lifetime. Like, if I got shot yesterday, my goal in parenting is to raise a daughter without daddy issues.
Yeah.
Right? That's my goal in parenting. Right? If I do that right, I have done everything right. And me being shot that would leave a void if I died.
Yes.
Like there'd be nothing I could do to solve that for the rest of my life. Or, for the rest of her life.
Her life, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's different when you have someone to lose. Where if you were gone today, yes, your parents may be sad, but who would be devastated?
Mm-hmm.
For
like
the rest
whose
of
life
their
would
life.
forever be changed.
Yeah. Obviously your parents, but beyond your parents.
Sure.
Like they've already done their job to raise you the best they know how, right? And you're responsible from then on, right?
Well, and an adult, while it would be devastating, while it would be a life-altering event, a healthy-minded adult has a skill set where they can address trauma, they can, have every chance they can to recover. But someone who is not developed, or who does not have a healthy mindset or a healthy soul, or is grounded in who they are, an event like that can alter the course of their life in an irreparable way.
Yes.
So it is very different, I think, when you have children. Or if you have people who are depending on you, because I'm sure that could apply in a number of different contexts.
Right.
But I'm very thankful that it ended the way it ended. I'm thankful that it did not escalate. And the craziest part, can I share about your dream?
Sure.
Brandon had a dream that the night before that he was in a situation where he ended up having a gun pointed on him, and he had to take the gun from that person and shoot that person to defend himself. And he was Brandon doesn't get dreams, for starters. You never have dreams. And you said that you had that dream twice in a row.
No, I had it that night.
Okay.
And I remembered it. Even if I do have dreams, I usually don't remember them.
So you're saying you remembered the dream. And you were really disturbed by it throughout the morning. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing that's unusual, because you don't usually have dreams to begin with, and the few times that I've known you that you have had a dream, you don't seem bothered by it or disturbed by it, and you don't really mention it multiple times throughout the day. So I thought that was kind of odd, coincidental. Was it a dream from the Lord? Was it a warning? I don't know, but I'm just so proud of Brandon, A, for his courage and his willingness to defend me and our family, and B, for the fact that you didn't go to that, because there was a time in Brandon's life where, he did fight a lot, and he liked to fight, and, I think it really says a lot about who you are now compared to who you used to be, and how the Lord has taken you and changed you. And that goes back to how I love that principle that Jordan Peterson talks about, about like the monster. Why don't you say it? I know that we've mentioned it once before on a video, so sorry if it's redundant, but it's so true, and I think it's something that every savvy person needs to do, which is the monster inside.
Yeah, so the idea is the saying is a dangerous man is not a good man. A good man is a dangerous man who has that under voluntary control. Right? If you're not capable of violence, if you're not capable of those things, there's no virtue in tempering it.
Yeah.
Right? If you're a coward, there's no virtue in being brave. Right? That makes sense? Like someone who's a cowardly person, there's no virtue if they run away from it.
So you've got to understand and discover the monster that you are capable of, and the fact that there are no real depths to anyone's depravity. Like, I think he talks about how, you know, the Nazis in World War II, those were everyday people who ran concentration camps, who imprisoned the Jews, who put them to death, who did horrible, vile things to these people. Those were everyday people up until this event in history. Those were your neighbors, you know, those were you. And what might you be capable of under different situations? And if you understand that, you have a choice whether or not you want to be that or whether you want to be someone else. But if you deny it, and if you don't understand that you're capable of great evil, then you don't have choice. And then you can fall victim to justifying. And just look at what recently happened in the pandemic and how people treated one another and how people went along with government orders, whether they thought it was right or wrong, and whether it was right or wrong. I guess that's the point, is that they thought it was right. Everyone thought their belief was right within that situation, whether it was right or not, whether there was evidence or not. People believed in their stance so wholeheartedly that they were willing to treat people differently as a result. And we didn't get to concentration camp levels, but that's how it started in World War I and II. It was those little compromises that led to great impact and going from here to here. So
I messed up the quote. It's a harmless man is not a good man. A good man is a very dangerous man who has that under voluntary control. So if you're not capable of harm, you cannot be considered good.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're harmless. You're harmless. You have no choice but to be harmless. Right? There's no virtue in harmlessness. Right? There's no virtue in weakness. But if you're a dangerous man, or you have these parts of yourself tempered and under control, then that's a good man. Because a good man is self-control.
Yeah.
A good man, is capable of violence, but he doesn't have to use it. He has multiple other options he can choose from. It's like meekness. Jesus talks about meekness. Jesus at any point could have handled any situation that he wanted to. He could have saved his own life if he wanted to. I was like, but a good definition of meekness is someone who has a sword and knows how to use it, but yet keeps it sheathed to prove a more important point.
Yes.
Right? At one point in my life, I thought this young punk has got some serious daddy issues, can't handle the slightest rejection. I should teach him a lesson on respect. You know,
And how sad is that for that to be the thought process, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's very sad. Even if it might be right to some people, it is still not the most mature way to yield the best possible result for everyone involved. And like it or not, while this man took criminal action, I mean, you were a criminal once, and Jesus saved you in the midst of that, and he turned your life around. And I hope that's the case for this man. I hope that whatever that may look like for him, I pray that it doesn't involve more crime. I pray he's apprehended. I pray he gets a wake-up call. And I pray that just like Brandon was able to make that choice of, I'm going to start making completely opposite decisions. I'm going to choose differently. I pray that this man encounters the Lord in that way and has a similar experience. Because life is just too short. And look at us now. Like, we have a happy marriage. We have a baby. We're building a business. We are contributing to society. We are taking part in changing people's lives for the better. Whereas before, that could not have been a life that you would have desired, let alone could have achieved.
Yeah.
And this man is capable of those things too if he makes different choices.
And you know what? My prayer is that he does get caught. So that way I could get his name. I could visit him in jail. I could give him an opportunity to come to Trace Diaz.
I know, I was thinking about that. I was like,
And
this
just
guy's
like
going
Jesus,
to Trace Diaz.
And just like Jesus has done for me, to drop all charges and to wipe the slate clean and give him an opportunity to take a new trajectory in life.
Yeah. And I want to just say, Brandon is not all talk. We were in a situation earlier this year where something similar happened. We had a vehicle stolen from someone who we knew, but he stole Brandon's truck. He was involved in a hit and run. We are still paying the price for that event. And he ended up turning himself into jail by choice. Brandon is still friends with him. And Brandon did everything he could to be a friend to him with good boundaries within that situation. And that guy really made the right choices. Like, I really admire that. And I think, what a tough thing to do. He ended up turning himself in. He served some time. He faced the court, just like you did at one point. And Brandon was gracious to, I think we put money on his books.
Yeah.
And, you know, we kept boundaries. We kept a measure of distance, but y'all still talk to this day. And I think you even had like a job or two since then, didn't you? Or you gave him a referral or something. So I just want to say that is the kind of man that Brandon is. There's a wise way to do that, and there is a foolish way to do that. I mean, it's not about giving people unlimited access or opportunity, but we know what it's like to be restored when we needed someone to just show us undeserved mercy. And I think Brandon does an incredible job of offering that to other people in ways that I don't always understand, and in ways that I don't feel I fully know how to do, but it never ceases to surprise me how Brandon does it. And I just am so grateful to be married to a man who has that kind of character and who loves people in that way from a position of strength. And it's not from a need. It's not from avoiding his own life. And that's the reason that he works so hard to grow business, because the more that you grow, the more that you develop, the more you have the option to give, and the more you can dictate and determine how you want to invest your life. And that's how Brandon chooses to invest his life. And I'm just so grateful to you for that. I'm grateful that you stand firm that this is a core value for us and for our family. And I pray the same thing for that man, that he's caught, that we're able to deliver the gospel, that we're able to give him opportunity, because I doubt he has anyone else in his life that would. He wouldn't.
Yeah, and I don't want him to get caught for justice sake.
No.
Because that's not going to solve his
right.
issues.
Yeah.
I pray he gets caught for goodness sake.
Amen.
For God's sake.
Amen.
You know, thanks for your sweet words.
I'm just so proud of you, and I'm so thankful that we're alive. Like, oh, I'm so grateful it ended well. I'm thankful y'all didn't even get into a fight, and this isn't the first time Brandon has like gone to bat for me and been willing to fight. The other time was a little bit silly.
What was the other time?
The police officer.
Oh.
And that was my bad. It was during the pandemic. We went to go get our marriage license. They required us to wear a mask. I was just like wanting to stand my ground and be like, I'm not doing it. The police officer followed us. He told us we either had to leave, and we needed the marriage license. There's only 2 places in the whole city you can get one. You can't get one online. So I put the mask on, but as we were leaving, I just kind of hung it up on the fence as like a sign of protest. And the police officer was like stomping out of the courthouse, like, you will pick up that litter. Like, I can't believe you litter like that, like screaming at me. And I'm getting in the car, like, Brennan, get in the car, we're leaving. And Brennan's like, what are you saying? Like, similar situation. What are you saying? And the police officer is like, she littered. And Brandon's like, did you litter? And did you actually do that, Courtney? And I said, yes, I did it. And Brandon is like, I don't remember what you said, but you kind of like started walking towards him.
The officer was like straight out disrespecting him. He was like, oh yeah, you what kind of person are you? You like looking, like saying like really nasty things
well,
about
I am
her.
Obviously the kind of person who would litter.
I put her in the vehicle, closed the door, and I had no idea she did this. And I'm like, and she is anti-litter.
I am
like 1,000%
normally
like freakishly weird. So I was like, there's no way she would do that. So I started walking towards this cop. I'm like, what are you saying? I said, don't disrespect my wife.
I think you even said she would never litter. And I'm like, no, Brandon, I did litter that time.
Yeah.
But normally I don't. And I am the kind of person who will like knock on someone's car window and say, hey, I just saw you throw that bag out. Pick it up. And I've done that a couple times on my bike. But Brandon was willing to take down the officer on my behalf, but I was in the wrong at that time. I was wrong, and I am sorry I littered. I'm not sorry that I didn't want to wear the mask, but I am sorry I littered.
Yeah.
So we're not perfect, but we are trying to become Christ-like, and we are trying to do the right thing. And Brandon was willing to go to bat for me, but thank God he didn't have to in that situation as well. And I pray he never, ever does. Mm-hmm. The end. You got anything else?
No.
Okay. Well, we're going to have a good rest of our day and appreciate being alive. So that's our story, and we'll talk to you later.